Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett and thank you for spending some time with me today because in this video, we are talking about some design disasters that you need to hear about, you need to know before you commit so we can avoid me having to fix them all later, which that's beside the point. But the first thing we have to talk about, the first design mistake that you should avoid that could be a disaster is a DIY arch. The arch trend is very popular. I have already spoken about it. I inspired a lot of other creators to talk about it also, beside the point. But the arch trend has now moved into the DIY space. And that always happens with a trend, right? Like designer comes up with it, they do it, it's amazing. A lot of people get inspired, they hire contractors to do it, and then it moves into, I'm gonna DIY it. That is where you may have a problem. Now, design-wise, an arch can be great if used correctly. I don't think an arch is for every house. I don't think everybody needs an arch. When I recommend a client do an arch, I actually recommend we take it a little bit taller than all of the other doorways because an arch always feels a little lower, like an arch doorway just, you know, like the curvature of it closes it in a little bit. So I like it to be a little taller, but you don't do that when you're doing a DIY arch. Now these are kits that are just kind of like corners that go into the doorway and turn it into an arch. People love them because it's DIY-able, right? We can get the look for less, but you have to be very good at drywall to make this happen. Most people are not. That's why there are professional drywallers, right? Like, you know, it's the people that we pay to do the job who are very good at it. Not everybody is. As a designer, I can tell you, not everybody is a great designer. But that's, I guess, that's for me. Now you have to be very good at this in order for it to look correct because you gotta do the drywall mud, you might have to match the texture of your walls, it has to be primed and painted and all of the things, and that's where people go wrong and you can sometimes tell that it's a DIY. Be careful, be careful, be careful. Now here's the thing about an arch. A lot of people are like, I can do an arch doorway, throw it on that one over there. An arch is something that is style specific, and when we do that, we have to use repetition to make it make sense. And what I mean by that is more than one arch makes for a really good situation in your home. So you could do an arch doorway. If you have multiple of these doorways, do multiple arches, put one on all of them and it'll look great. And then we need to bring the arch into the actual design. So we look for, you know, a mirror with an arch top on it. Great, a cabinet with an arch top. Those are good things to bring in to create that repetition in the design to make it make sense. An arch in a traditional style home is gonna feel like it's kind of cottagey. An arch can be really great in a Tuscan style home. So think long and hard about it before you commit yourself to something that could potentially be a design disaster. Now, if you want to avoid design mistakes and disasters that are costly and expensive and you will regret immediately, I could recommend to you to work with a designer like myself. Yes, I offer my services to all of you. All it takes is going to the link in the description box down below or going to intro.co/GarrettLeChic to book a one-on-one virtual consultation with me. You can show me around your home and I can answer all of your design questions before you make a decision you'll regret. Another potential design disaster is an open staircase. And I have some opinions on this. Number one, a lot of people like an open staircase because they feel like it gives them more floor space. And to an extent it does. You know, when it's open underneath, you have more visible floor there. It's not usable, like you can't walk under it because there's an angled staircase above you, but in a really small or compact entryway, hallway space, it could make it feel bigger. And that can be good, but for me, I'd rather have it be more of a narrow hallway with a lot of storage rather than just feeling open. Because, you know, the problem with an open space is that we can see everything, and if it's not organized, it looks a mess. And I don't like that, and I don't think you do either. So I don't love an open staircase like underneath because that's a really good opportunity for us to make a coat closet, a linen closet, I used to use mine as like I would put like the vacuum cleaner and the broom and like a lot of cleaning supplies in it. That's what that closet was for me. In this house, my water heater is under the staircase, which is actually better because I don't have a weird shaped closet, but you know, that's beside the point. The other thing I don't love about an open staircase is that the treads are open, and that's a disaster waiting to happen. Cornelius, he wouldn't give it the time of day, okay? He would just be like, nope, that's too dangerous for me. And he would never. But Arden would be a goner. Arden would be a goner. He would fall through that staircase in 2 seconds and it would be done. It would be over. And I would be devastated, Arden, wouldn't I? I think it's a danger, and I would never, never bring that kind of danger into my home to affect my little baby Cavalier here. I would also go as far as to say the same thing with cats. Cats love to play on stairs, okay? They will risk it all because they figure like, oh, I have 8 other lives. Like, I'll be fine. I don't like that. Okay, I don't like it. It's not my kind of risk. So I don't believe in that. Same thing with children and kids. They're always good. It's a danger, it's a risk. They always got something in their hand, they're gonna drop it, it's gonna fall through the staircase. A mess, a disaster. I don't like it. I think having a closed staircase is so much better, and then having storage underneath it, way, way, way better, way better. It's not even something I would contemplate having in my home in my life, because why would I? I would rather have more storage under a staircase. An open staircase, to me, it feels like we're trying to do something, but we're not necessarily getting there. And the other thing about it, it's actually more expensive to do that because you have to use materials that have more like structure to them, because we don't have sort of the like wall there holding up the staircase, right? So that also adds to the bottom line. So I'm paying more, I'm losing storage space, and ultimately I have something that could potentially be more dangerous in the long term. So it's just not something I typically recommend or would suggest. As a matter of fact, I say the opposite. I think there's more you can do with a beautiful railing or even adding in artwork or details into the space that will give you that same sort of modern aesthetic that an open staircase will, without you having to sacrifice or risk yourself and create a danger for the smaller beings in the space that could potentially be affected by that. Yeah, I don't like that. So I would avoid that, and I would choose something that isn't reinventing the wheel, because sometimes you don't need to do it. If you have been here for a while, hey, if you're new here, subscribe. You know, okay, if you've been here for a while, you know that I do not put faith, trust, or belief in an area rug on wall-to-wall carpet. I don't think it looks good. I think it's redundant, and I think it's dangerous too. It's dangerous because you could easily trip on that, and an area rug on carpet, because it doesn't have a flat substrate underneath it, will always shift and move and get wrinkles in it. And I hate the feeling of like, why am I stepping on something that is soft, but I can tell that there's something soft underneath it? But then it's like multi-layers, because now there's something soft underneath the soft carpet. No, I just don't like that. Like that does not make sense to me. It does not satisfy me. As a matter of fact, it's like a major ick that I feel, gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. I don't like that. It's redundant because we already have something soft. Now, a lot of people are like, I love an area rug on carpet because it feels cozy. Cozy. But how does it make it feel cozy though? Because you already have carpet, which is a soft, cozy surface on the floor. And so we're adding an area rug on top of the cozy material to make it more cozy. That's interesting. And it reminds me of a question, which came first, the chicken or the egg? It makes no sense to me. Let's be intentional. Let's make good decisions. Let's take the color of the wall-to-wall carpet and bring it into the design. 9 times out of 10, it's a neutral color. Maybe it's not what your first choice would be, okay? Sometimes it's cream or ivory, sometimes it reads a little gray, sometimes it reads a little tan, and that's fine. We can work with all of that. These are all neutral colors. So what we need to do is find elements to bring in to make it feel intentional, like you chose that to be there, not like it's what was there and we're working with it. So when you pick upholstered furniture for the space, sofas, bed frames, chairs, those sorts of things, I would choose a different color than the carpet, right? So we get a little bit of contrast, so it feels different. We bring in the color of the wall-to-wall carpet in accessories and decor and artwork, lampshades, window treatments. These are all good places. Accent and throw pillows. Love that. It brings that color in and makes it feel like you chose it, so it makes sense. If you have a cool toned carpet, we warm it up with the other tones we bring in. If you have a warm toned carpet, great. Contrast it with a gray. I love like a tan and gray together. Oh, one of my favorite. When it comes to addressing open concept and trying to create individual spaces, all we need to do is work on the furniture layout. Literally, you can achieve it there, but once again, bring the color of the wall-to-wall carpet into the space to make it feel intentional and avoid a design disaster like having a wrinkly area rug on top of your wall-to-wall carpet. Never do it. Something you should do, however, is take a moment and join us, become a part of our LeChic family by hitting the subscribe button or pulling out your smartphone and scanning this QR code. It will take you directly to my channel page and make it much easier for you to hit subscribe and turn on your bell notification so you get notified every time I upload. And if you've been here for a while and you made it this far in the video, hey, love that for you, love that for me. Be sure you give this video a like and give it a little bit of hype to get it shared across the platform. The next area of disaster we need to talk about is, an open shelf in a kitchen. Yeah, we've talked about it before, but we're gonna talk about it again because it could be your best friend or it could be a nightmare, okay? Open shelves in a kitchen is not my top recommendation, and I reported on the trend, which you all know, because it was the trend. People were just taking out all of their upper cabinetry and doing only open shelves, which is great if everything you have is beautifully organized and beautiful, but not everything you have is. Like if you have kids and they have the plastic cups, because they're not using the good stuff, that's for sure, it's on the open shelf, honey. We can see it. It's visible to all of us. And now we're looking at that when we walk in the kitchen. Okay, I would say maybe don't do that. Let's have some cabinetry. And if you wanted to have an open shelf, be aware you're going to have to clean and take care of it. So there are only certain times I ever suggest an open shelf to my clients, and that's if we're filling it with cookbooks, right? If you've got a ton of cookbooks and you want to see them, like that doesn't really make sense to put behind a closed door because then you can't see them. So maybe that makes sense on an open shelf, but I want to do it away from a cooking area. Or I have had a few clients where I've said, we could do a very narrow open shelf behind the cooktop where we put essentials. But when I do recommend that to them and they like that idea, I do have them commit to me, hey, I am aware that I will have to clean this a lot in order to keep it looking clean, in order to maintain it, because anything in a kitchen is going to get greasy and grimy, let alone all of the dust that's gonna land on every surface. And if you have a particularly dusty home, like you know what I mean, if the flat surfaces, if the tables, if the floors get dust all over it and you have to clean it all the time, run as fast as you can from an open shelf in a kitchen because it's going to be a nightmare. Okay, I have a life. All right, I have things I have going on, I have to do, I have to take care of, I have to get done in my house. So committing that much time of my life to cleaning an open shelf in a kitchen is never something I am going to do. And I genuinely believe you can design convenience into your home just through the ideas and principles you put in place. So some kitchen designers will say, oh yeah, we like to leave an open space above cabinetry in a kitchen because it creates this division and all. No, I'm not cleaning up on top of it. I'm not doing it. So maybe you think it looks better that way, but when I look at it, I see a nightmare and I'm not going to sign myself up for that. So I would say take your cabinetry to your ceiling and avoid that flat surface that dust builds up on it. Same thing goes for an open shelf. Now, the only time open shelves really work in a kitchen is if it's very small and if a cabinet is going to block out a lot of light from getting in. Those are the times and places where I'll say, okay, this is the exception. Like we could do open shelves here and make it work, but just keep in mind that you're going to have to take care of them and clean them, especially if you're putting plates, glasses, and cups on them. It's gonna be higher maintenance and you have to be prepared to put that in for it, but that might be the compromise you have to make to get the storage you actually need in your space. Just think about it before you commit to having open shelves or getting rid of all of your cabinetry. Never. Don't do it. Red flag alert. Don't do that. Let's be mindful and think about it before we commit to something as like time-consuming as cleaning open shelves for the rest of our lives in a kitchen. Ooh, I'm getting stressed out just thinking about it. Now, the next thing we have to talk about is something that my clients have brought to my attention that I see they don't want in their spaces and they are vehemently against, and that is synthetics and plastic materials. I think it's a design disaster because a lot of people are just like, they're either okay with it or they're completely and totally against it. So that's why I don't really advise you bring in those things to your house. It's like with vinyl floors. I recently had a conversation with a client and she said, you know, I have to redo my floors, but I already have the flooring in the bedroom done and I don't want to redo that. And it was a wood. And so she said, what are my options? Like, I don't want vinyl flooring. I don't want plastic. I don't want any of that in my space. And we came up with another decision and I recommended an oversized tile because that just made more sense than, you know, trying to do a wood look tile that doesn't match your wooden. And we see so much like vinyl plank flooring. Like I see it all of the time in multi-million-dollar houses. I'll see vinyl plank flooring and it's like, I know that's plastic. Okay. And for some people, that's what fits in the budget and that's what they're going to do. And that's okay. But for other people, they really, really, really don't want that. Another of my clients is like, hey, I need to know what the foam that sofa is made with underneath the fabric is, because I can't have this toxic stuff in my space. Some people have allergies to it. Some people, they're just allergic. Some people, they are just very concerned about microplastics. This is all something that comes into account when you are bringing anything into your space. Look at the material it's made out of. Look to see if there's an alternative to that that might serve you better. Or maybe it's something that is actually advantageous for you to bring into the space, like a performance fabric, like a Krypton or something like that. It's not made of cotton. No, it isn't. And it's very stain resistant. It's going to be very durable, but are you willing to deal with it? These are all things you have to be thinking about. For me, I'm big on like cooking utensils, and a lot of the fabrics I bring in, I want them to be honest materials. Like I use wooden spoons and I like stainless steel pans and those sorts of things, because it's just like, it's easier to use, deal with. I don't have to worry about burning off the non-stick on pans. Like that's a lot to deal with. Those are things I'm thinking about because I'm concerned over the long-term effects. Think about it long and hard before you make some of those big decisions on what's going to last the longest and what is going to be the best material overall to bring into your space. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this if you have it. Remember that. If you already have it, you've already committed to it. I'm not telling you gotta rip everything up and redo it all, but think long and hard when you bring something new into your space or you make big changes. Well, now that we talked about some design disasters to avoid in your space, let's talk about 10 things you definitely don't wanna fall for. Yeah, you heard that right, Arden. The video is right over here. Be sure you click on it, check it out, and I will see you over there.